And on the front is this graphic that Isaac created for us. He's just wildly one of the most creative people in this type of stuff I've ever met. But it says, "Are you ready to be contagious?" And on the back it says, "Join us this Sunday to find out what it really means to be viral with your faith and truly spread the light of Jesus Christ." And you notice it does say, gas mask not required. You can wear them if you want, but gas mask not required. So these things were on your chairs, and you could take that one, and I've got some more up here. I made a lot of them. There were over 2,000 little corners that I did one at a time, okay? If you want to take more, take more. And invite people into your lives. Invite them and to share with them this very real and hopefully contagious faith. And we're going to look at this, and I'll talk a little bit more in a few minutes about something neat that we're going to do next week and the week after and even today. But I would ask for you to prayerfully consider giving these to someone, be it a friend, a neighbor, a coworker. And I want to stress that it's not because we're know-it-alls that think that we've got the market cornered on faith. That we're know-it-alls that believe that we're perfect. I want the people that you give these cards to understand that we are just beggars who figured out where to find the food. And number two, I want to talk to you a little bit about being connected relationally in groups. And we've had a couple videos. We saw Batman up there a couple weeks ago really plugging some of our small groups, and we want to thank him for making that appearance. But I was brainstorming with some leaders earlier this week. I think it was Tuesday. And we were talking about evangelism. But more importantly, evangelism and being contagious in North America. And really, most important, or not most importantly, to the point, the U.S. And we admitted and we believe that we have probably the most creative strategies in the world. But we're missing one thing. And when we examine some of these other churches that we bless and help, and they bless us too, just in the inspiration. But when we're examining these churches in other regions and parts of the world where the gospel is actually spreading like fire, we're missing relationships. We are a country of individuals, and those countries are so deeply connected relationally that it just makes sense that when the gospel impacts one person, it impacts an entire family. It impacts an entire community. When people have gone abroad, and Chris has shared when she comes back from Africa, when you go into these villages or these homes, they're excited. They're relational. They come up and they start adorning you with hugs, and they want to make a meal. They're bringing you into the family. That's relational living. And we're missing out on that. We are this country of individuals, and yes, we hang out and we have our friendships, but at some point, every single one of us is saying, "You got to go home. I need the me time," right? Admit it, right? Yeah. Pitiful group of liars. Okay. We don't always feel like we need each other. We don't always believe that we need each other. But if we're going to be contagious and we're going to attempt to sneeze, we have got to focus on these relationships. And that's something we just have to do. We cannot be tricked into the lie, the falsehood, that coming to church, showing up to church, that's enough. It's not. We've got to get better at this. And why do we get together the last Saturday of every month for a picnic or a fellowship meal of some sort? Why do we do that? So that we can have fun together. Why do we have things that on the first Saturday of every month in the evening, like Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage that we've done for the past 2, and we've got a few more to do? Why do we do that? so that we can learn together. And why do we have small groups? Why are we plugging and talking about and encouraging these small groups? It's so that we can share and grow together. And I want to give you the ABCs of what this looks like in this relational living in these groups, and why I believe, and it is in my heart, and you may not agree just yet, but know that it's in my heart that every single person that comes here would be plugged into a small group. And it starts because of accountability. So you can come here every weekend, you really can. You can come every Sunday, and you can even believe everything that I say. And you can believe that every week I bring you the truth and profess and proclaim the gospel in its perfected form, and yet still never do anything with it or about it. And it's like I always plug back into the fitness stuff, but when I was walking around at the fair a couple weeks ago, and there were plenty of places calling my name, you know, the fried cheese on a stick, Tommy, you know, and it was awful because I knew that I had to put those blinders on, and I couldn't do it because I helped so many people resist those temptations. And I know as soon as I'm up there and I engage in that transaction, you know, same time, man, I'm going to give you, was it $20 for a fry? At the same time, I'm going to give you the money, and you're going to give these. I'm going to turn around, and there's going to be like 8 people that I trained standing right there, just, you know. We've got to have accountability. And I live my life, or at least I try to, with a level of accountability that says, I don't care if you're not there, you're in my heart and in my mind. I try to live with a level of accountability that even though Jesus isn't sitting here in a physical form, who am I fooling to say he can't see me? That he doesn't see you. He's oblivious because you turn a light off? Oh, now he can't. Or maybe you're a hunter and you wear camouflage to fool Jesus, put up a little bush. We need accountability, and we get a level of accountability that's hard to attain outside of these small groups. We need this accountability for other people and simple conversations that take truth. Things that we know take truth from proclamation to implementation. And it's not about being good, it's about being better. It's about slowly achieving more. So we said it's the accountability, but it's also belonging. Be belonging. And sometimes we have people who attend and live life with us on Sundays, and they love what we do and are even inspired and challenged by the things that we talk about. But at some point, we stop seeing them. And in the same way, I often talk to people from other church, and they'll talk about not being content with their weekly worship service. And every single time I ask, why are you a part of that if it's leaving you at such unease? The answer, 100% of the time, is because my friends or my family go there. It's because they know me and I know them, and I feel like I belong. Belonging only happens through relationships. And this can happen in many ways, and not just small groups, but even serving on ministry teams. And being a part of doing things with friends and family, but it has to happen with care. In a small group, isn't it cool when you're talking beforehand and maybe you're talking during and maybe something afterwards? Isn't it cool when you're just with people who care enough, who might not have all the solutions for the things that you're dealing with, but care deeply enough about you to listen, to give their time to you to listen so that you know that you matter, that you're not alone? And isn't it actually powerful, overwhelmingly powerful, when someone prays with and for you? because they love you. And they're also providing, at the bare minimum, presence. In our groups, there's this presence. I was talking with Joe Linder a while back, and he was talking about when he was at the hospital, and he had that very serious thing going on. And by the way, he has a test on the 12th, and so we need to keep him lifted in prayer to finally get some answers over that issue that we almost lost him. But he didn't talk about almost dying. He didn't talk about that fear. He talked about how impacting it was, how many people that he didn't know even that he was on their radar, how many people did the drive down to Columbus and spent time with him in the hospital. How many people reached out to him then and even when he's back. He was blown away at the size of the family that he's in because he's been doing church a long time, and yet that came as a surprise to him. That tells you the relational mishaps, the things that were missing. And I was thankful that I could be there for my friend. But I want to take this into one more step in terms of the groups, and not just caring, but caring about others. Caring about other people, putting others in front of ourselves. What if every single group we have, we've got like 12, what if every single group we have just made a conscious decision to take someone who comes but might be disconnected, and take that person and help them become connected? Or better yet, take someone who is completely disconnected from church and from God and pull them in. Pull them in and just love on them and help them feel a part of something bigger than themselves. What if every one of us, every one of these groups went viral like that? Sneezing on each other is good. It's what we're talking about doing. But at some point, we need to offer what we have to those who are without it. And this is how we actually start and create a pandemic. And I want to do something a little bit different. And I'm going to ask the worship team to come up. But while they're kind of getting set for their last song, are you ready for this? Today, I want to have the first of several over the next coming weeks. Today, we are going to have the first ever Virus Awards. And so, I have a certificate and a trophy that I made, and I stained my hands horribly green creating this. It took a lot of scrubbing and some Norwex cloths to clean my hands. It was a good plug for them, really. But I've got two that I want to give today, and for very different reasons. And I got to try not to cry. But the first one, I'm going to ask Brittany Moss to come up. Brittany, I want to present you with one of the first Virus Awards. Hold that up proud. You've seen it all. Brittany, it wasn't that long ago, was at a different place in her life. And she had different priorities. And being here with us wasn't one of them. Brittany encountered Jesus. Brittany encountered his power in a very real and impacting way, not just in her life, but in her family's. And Brittany went from not being sure about this whole Jesus thing and this weird cult we have going to sitting over in these chairs every week. And she's even jumped on and took over our social media aspect and doing these Facebook thing. And we literally have thousands of people viewing our Facebook now. And this week, I actually had a pastor reach out to me from Puerto Rico, thanking us for making this series available online, and not a single bit of that would happen without the heart of Brittany Most. And the second, I'm going to ask Lana Linder to come up here. There's a misconception. Viral living isn't about being as obnoxious with your faith as you can be. Viral living isn't about being as outwardly convicting to other people. Sometimes the best viral living comes in humble sacrifice. And there is no one in this room, including myself, that has made more sacrifice than Lana Linder. Lana Linder has jumped so far out of her comfort zone, sometimes it's hard to figure out where she's at. Okay? And not outer space, and not a bit of it is comfortable. And she does it. And she doesn't do it for me. She doesn't do it for herself. She doesn't do it for her adoring husband, Joe. She does it for the family, the body of Christ. The things that hurt her the most, the things that she's willing to give up, the things that she's willing to do that are, again, wildly uncomfortable and painful, she does for all of you. And so one of the best examples of viral living is the sacrifice of my friend Lana.